The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, rallying behind Ukraine. How to help stop the violence. And a Nanaimo surprise. Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Connor Oliver. Here's a look at what's been happening. Ukrainian residents are still under fire after a week-long invasion by Russian military forces. We have several stories about how this conflict is affecting people around the world and here at home. We begin with a rally for peace in Vancouver. Reporter Nate Lewis was there and has our top story.
In a field of yellow and blue, demonstrators filled the Art Gallery Square on Saturday, spilling across Georgia Street and crowding the gallery steps. Pavlo Ponikarovsky is one of the organizers for the Stand with Ukraine Against Russian Invasion anti-war rally.
Fortunately, my worst and every single Ukrainian worst fears worst nightmares have come alive. And right now we are here to show our solidarity with people of Ukraine. Most importantly, getting everybody to donate money to Ukraine because our economy is in a complete standstill.
Some Russian banks have been removed from the SWIFT financial network, while Canada and the U.S., along with 31 European states, have closed their airspace to Russian flights. In BC, the provincial legislature is encouraging a divestment from Russian-owned companies.
The events unfolding in Central Europe between the governments of Russia and the people of Ukraine are appalling and unacceptable by any measure.
There was consensus. So opposition, BC Liberals, also called for divestment of BC pension funds from Russian-owned industries, particularly oil and gas.
The Vancouver Sun reported Wednesday that the investment corporation responsible for managing BC's pension funds had sold nearly $300 million in Russian stock since last year.
It's important to recognize the significance of this moment. It's a crisis. It's an overwhelming attack on international law, international order.
And do you have a message to folks in Ukraine right now?
We are with you.
War is Spain. War is Spain. War is Spain. War is Spain.
I was talking to my friend in Kiev mid-conversation as we were discussing stuff, trying to distract him from the war. All of a sudden he tells me, there are sirens, I need to go to the basement. I didn't have an opportunity to say thank you for the chat, goodbye. He just left, and that's what he told me. He is safe now. I heard from him later that day.
For the many Ukrainians who live in Canada, this is a ground-shaking event.
Ukraine will never be the same. Ukrainian people will never be the same. I will never be the same. But we will never be conquered.
Nate Lewis in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Many people across the world are in shock about the attack on Ukraine. Some are even wanting to travel to the country and help join the fight. But experts warn this is not Canada's war. Reporter Mo Hussein explains why.
With Russia continuing to attack Ukraine, one Ukrainian from Vancouver decided to join the front lines.
I bought a ticket and I'm going home on Wednesday.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so why do you happen to want to go home, I guess?
I cannot stand here when my country is under siege.
Бажаю здоров'я. Єдина країна.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has lifted visa requirements for foreigners wanting to help fight against Russia, but Canada, as part of NATO, has restrictions.
NATO has taken the overall position that while condemning the invasion of Ukraine, that it will not directly intervene militarily in terms of its own forces.
While the global firepower ranking estimates that Ukraine only has a third of available troops compared to Russia, experts warn outside countries have to tread carefully.
It is the potential first act of actual World War III. That is why we see Canada moving towards providing support for Ukraine without directly intervening, and providing for the strongest sanctions that they can engineer against the Russian regime.
So far, Canada has supplied weapons, body armor, and humanitarian aid, but Ole isn't sure it will be enough to stop the conflict.
So thank you for the support, and it's really warm our heart, but we need really actions, because like each second there is a fight. We need a stronger action from NATO, from other countries, to close Ukrainian sky from Russian missiles, and to help with the practical support, not just with the warm words.
Mohammed Hussein in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
I'm joined now by reporter Mohammed Hussein. Mohammed, what kind of sanctions does Canada have on Russia so far?
Well, Connor, the federal government placed sanctions on the Russian Central Bank, its National Wealth Fund, and Finance Ministry. The government also placed sanctions on Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin and Deputy Prime Minister Yuri Trutnev. Back to you, Connor.
You may have noticed the rapid rise in the price of gas at the pumps. Experts predict there is no ceiling for how expensive gas could climb. Russia supplies lots of oil and gas onto the world market, but new sanctions have turned off the taps. Turning to local news, some Nanaimo residents were shaken awake earlier this week, but it wasn't from an earthquake. I went to the neighborhood to investigate.
It was like something out of a movie.
We were watching TV, and all of a sudden this big boom happens and shakes the house.
The city of Nanaimo was rocked by an explosion on Sunday night near Fitzwilliam and Pine Streets. It brought a vacant house down to its foundation.
My dad came in actually and asked me if we were watching a movie.
Nanaimo RCMP have confirmed that 6 people from a nearby home were treated for minor injuries. The condition of the buildings surrounding the blast remain unclear.
We didn't find anybody in the area. We went to the adjacent house. The windows had been blown out. Several people were inside. They had minor injuries, some shards of glass. The church appears that there's no damaged windows or to the structure of that church at all.
RCMP say that the explosion was likely caused by a gas leak. Investigations are ongoing.
Yeah, it's probably a good chance to review your gas fittings. If you have any questions, a lot of people aren't familiar with that. Call the experts and let them review it.
The blast was felt all across Nanaimo, with some reporting it was even noticeable on the Sunshine Coast.
Go on Twitter and check what's going on in Nanaimo, and apparently everyone's talking about this big boom happening all around Nanaimo.
Police say that it does appear to be an isolated incident and are looking for more information or footage of the event. Connor Oliver in Nanaimo for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up after the break, Ukrainian residents give back. And where's the vodka? Welcome back to BCIT Magazine. Several communities have been coming together to try and help those affected by the crisis in Ukraine. Reporter Angelina Ravelli introduces us to those making a difference.
Christina Lebed is a board member of the Maple Hope Foundation. They've been raising money for those who need it most over in Ukraine. She does this even though she was born in Russia.
It's all about choices, and everybody has a choice now to either ignore this or to do something about it. And I don't think it matters what country you're from at this point. This is not Ukraine-Russia problem. This is a world problem.
The amount donated has been overwhelming and will be making an impact sooner than expected.
Of other European countries in the world stepping up and sending a lot of funds to Ukraine, but those funds do not get there as fast as some of the fundraising groups can get them into the hands of the Ukrainians who literally need them today, right this moment.
Those at BCIT also doing their part. One instructor here found another donation site to contribute to.
The Canadian-Ukrainian Foundation, and it looked like it was a not-for-profit in Ontario, and it looked like they were trying to raise about $1.5 million for aid to the Ukrainian cause in the form of kits that would help people who are essentially refugees or who are struggling there.
But he believes more can be done.
We all need to step up in any way that we can in order to do what's in the best interest for all of us, for the entire world.
People around the world are coming together to show their support for those in Ukraine, from donations to marches, and even reaching out to those who may need a helping hand. I'm Angelina Ravelli in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
The greatest hockey player of all time, Wayne Gretzky, suggested this week that the Russian hockey team should be banned from the World Junior Championships this upcoming August. Shortly afterwards, the International Ice Hockey Federation did impose a ban. The IIHF will also take the World Juniors tournament out of Russia, where it was supposed to be held in 2023. The BC government's support of Ukraine includes removing Russian alcohol off BC liquor store shelves. But that doesn't mean private liquor stores must do the same. Reporter Ben Raymer tells us why.
British Columbians are going to have a hard time finding Russian liquor for the time being. Last Friday, the province immediately halted the sale of liquor from Russia.
More as a symbolic gesture than anything that's likely to have a huge economic impact.
But privately owned liquor stores are now left with the decision of what to do with the remaining Russian liquor. A large number made the decision to take Russian liquor off their shelves. This Jolly Coachman's pub manager has stopped sales of Russian liquor, but hopes the government can make a bigger change.
But I believe it's one step that they're taking from an optics perspective, saying we're taking a stand when in reality there's things far beyond that they could do in one foul swoop that would really affect what's going on.
But Morozov also believes that other privately owned liquor stores have the right to freedom of choice.
Coming out of a 2-year pandemic and obviously a lot of industries being affected, the individual owners of those liquor stores might be thinking, well, we're not going to take some of our best-selling products off the market and have somebody go elsewhere where they are available.
But shoppers we talk to believe private liquor stores shouldn't try to profit off of Russian products.
Why should we be supporting them if they're going to be putting other people at risk? Especially if we ever do go to war, then more of our people are at risk.
It's a moral stand, so being good is right and being bad is wrong, so take it out.
Russian alcohol may be just the first thing to go in BC. Last Friday, Premier John Horgan said that BC will support any sanction the federal government imposes on Russia. Ben Raymer in Maple Ridge for BCIT Magazine.
FIFA, which is the governing body for soccer across the world, has also just announced this week that Russian teams will be banned from national and international play. This will affect both men's and women's teams and is a massive decision given the World Cup will be held this year in Qatar. If you have any questions regarding the show, you can contact us at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitnews.com. And that's all for this week of BCIT Magazine. I'm Connor Oliver. Have a great day.